views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren, Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Coming up on today's show, we'll introduce you to Wetco. We'll find out what family support and housing services they provide to families during these challenging times. And then also, with homelessness reaching its highest levels in New York City, we're going to discuss with one organization how it's helping to serve those struggling in the area of homelessness. And then we're going to speak with an architect discussing the effects of COVID-19 on the city's construction industry. And then we'll also get some tips on how you can improve your credit scores. We'll have more details a little bit later on in the show. And then finally, working from home can be challenging, but we're going to sit down with the founders of the Bae Fitz collection, discussing how their clothing line is bringing relationships back into style. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, July 29th, and you're watching Open, a live and interactive program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast live simultaneously on the Eminence channel. And then also, you can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, a lot has certainly been going on in our borough throughout the course of the past week, as well as across the city. We'll introduce you to a few things with our Bronx updates. Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. headed out to Soundview Park, kicking off Meaningful Monday. That's an initiative in partnership with the New York City Department of Parks, which actually aims to promote volunteerism as well as civic engagement and neighborhood pride throughout the borough. Our BronxNet reporter Jericho Tran was there and has our story.
Heading into a garbage-filled park, armed with trash bags and gloves, members of the Bronx community gathered at the Soundview Park to help clean up as a part of the Meaningful Monday service initiative.
I feel accomplished because, we haven't really been doing much in quarantine, and now you can get out and help the community as well.
Grabbing a trash picker and heading to a park near his home, Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. kicked off the initiative, which aims to promote volunteerism, civic engagement, and neighborhood pride throughout the Bronx community. The borough president encouraged residents posting about garbage in their neighborhoods to start taking action and help clean up.
If you care enough to post a video, why don't you register to our hashtag so that you can come out and identify a park in your community with an organization, an elected official. The Parks Department will give you the necessary tools and equipment so that we can clean up the parks.
President Diaz hopes the community will assemble with the same spirit as the numerous community cleanup efforts along Fordham Road and Burnside Avenue following the looting from the protests in June.
The same one that we saw with the hundreds of young people who came out and helped the merchants clean up Fordham and Burnside, that's what we want to capture, that same energy.
After the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation experienced a 14% budget cut as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, the Bronx Borough Commissioner for Parks, Iris Rodriguez Rosa, tells us the extra help cleaning the over 7,000 acres of parks in the Bronx is greatly appreciated.
We do not have the personnel that we used to have in summers before, given the fiscal situation that we're in. So whatever assistance that we can get from the community for the neighborhood parks is greatly appreciated.
As you can see here behind me, people still actively cleaning up trash here in Soundview Park. Now, New York City Parks tells us that they do not have a scheduled park for next Monday, but they do encourage community members to reach out in order to continue meaningful Mondays. Reporting for BronxNet, Jericho Tran.
And thank you, Jericho. In other news, Con Edison is actually asking Bronx residents to reserve their energy as they experience low voltage during the heat wave. Our BronxNet reporter Ashley Tiffany has the story.
The heat is expected to be in the 90s for another week in New York City. Con Edison crew members are facing the heat to keep the service going for customers throughout the city, including the southeast section of the Bronx. On Twitter, Con Edison asked customers in the Bronx to conserve energy while crews repair equipment. The 80,400 customers in the neighborhoods affected include Bronx River, Bruckner, Castle Hill, Co-op City, Country Club, Easter Bay, Pelham Bay, and more. Con Edison is also asking residents in the affected area not to use energy-intensive appliances such as washers, dryers, microwaves, and if not needed for health or medical reasons, air conditioners, until crew members complete repairs. If you are experiencing a shortage or need a cool place to relax, cooling centers are open throughout the 5 boroughs. For more information, you can visit nyc.gov. Reporting for BronxNet, Ashley Tiffany.
And thank you, Ashley. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. Stay with us. We got more open coming up right after this.
We know that people are dealing with the health crisis, but there's also a lot of food insecurity.
We're giving out healthy food options, and that's what's key here.
If you're a senior, you have a disability, they'll actually deliver meals to you.
The residents are anxious, they're worried, they're scared, they want to be tested.
When things were happening in our community, and we couldn't get the help.
There's almost a presumption of criminality that attaches to your skin color.
The site will prioritize those who are at highest risk in the population.
If you feel symptoms and you'd like to visit one of these COVID-19 testing sites here in the Bronx, you may call the State Health Department's hotline.
Important to note about this site is no reservations are needed. This is a walk-in clinic.
A lot of us are out of work and looking for something to do.
We have the machinery and the skills to make large scales of these masks and gowns.
Take care of your people. It's going to go way further than we actually can understand.
Right now, employees like myself are just adjusting to the new reality.
Reporting from and welcome back. Well, food insecurity has hit many neighborhoods across the country, more particularly here in the borough of the Bronx. And if we go even deeper, the South Bronx. Neighborhoods are affected by the pandemic, and the economic downturn has made it severely hard and much worse for families. Wetco is a Bronx not-for-profit organization, and they continue to provide support to families in need of food. Joining us now to tell us a little bit more and provide some further insight is the Vice President for Family Support and Housing Services at Wetco, and we're pleased to be joined by Ms. Doxene Roberts. And Doxene, good to have you.
Hi, Daren. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And as I talked a little bit earlier in the intro, I talked about how literally Bronxites have been dealing with this food insecurity. And Wetco has been doing a great job of trying to meet the needs of families. Talk to us a little bit about the work that you guys have been doing, particularly in this COVID-19 pandemic.
All right, so we made the decision in March. It was a very difficult decision to close our food pantry, which we've been operating for over 20 years. However, in contacting our families on a weekly basis to provide support, we really assessed that our families were having a difficult time connecting to the very few food programs that were still open. So in response to the needs of our families, and of course our staff are always eager to assist our families, we reopened our pantry in June. And each week we distribute more than 40 bags of grocery to over 50 families each week. And we have also been delivering meals to the seniors and disabled families at our 3 housing developments.
And when we talk a little bit about the work that you guys do in terms of distributing food, not only do you distribute food, I know that you guys also spend some time delivering gift cards to families and making sure that families have gift cards. How does that work, and how are you able to get the gift cards to the community?
Yes, so in April, we launched a matching campaign, and we were able to raise over $40,000 from private donations. We've also received funding from private partners, including $100,000 from the Garden of Dreams Foundation and other partners who have given us, allowed us the financial means to be able to provide grocery carts to our families and also hot meals and snacks. We first assessed the most neediest families, which many times run across all of our programs. And those were the first set of families that we were able to provide the grocery gift cards to, where they can take to particular supermarkets and provide meals for their families. So in addition to the grocery cards and the hot meals and our food pantry, we have been able to really address some of the food insecurity in our area. And we have over 700 families we've been able to distribute grocery cards to for the past several months.
That's awesome. And I know that you guys also do work, you got a commercial kitchen, and part of that is having a commercial kitchen that's designed to assist the community. So talk about the work that goes on in that kitchen and the stuff that flows out of that kitchen that's able to help the community.
Right, so our kitchen is always busy, but we were very honored during the pandemic through the chefs from the World Central Kitchen. They provide meals in Wetco's commercial kitchen, which is known as the Bronx Cook Space. And they prepared thousands of meals for families throughout the Bronx. And of course, our families were also included in receiving some of those meals. We distributed meals, as I said earlier, to families that were coming in for the pantry, and also families in our 3 residential buildings and throughout our programs.
And I know that you guys have some other services in addition to just dealing with food insecurity as well. Give us a little bit about what Wetco does outside of the food insecurity issue.
So Wetco provides a variety of services. I'll speak more specifically about the family support department. So currently we have a case management team that provides benefits screening and access, health insurance, access and advocacy, and also tenant support. We have a mental health unit that provides support to all our participants across our programs, our children and families at our partnership schools, and also community residents. And we also have a legal clinic and an immigration clinic that is provided by the Legal Aid Society on a weekly basis. And all of this is being done remotely as we slowly get back into the office.
Yeah. Has it been hard for you, being the fact that you're not in the office?
It's been very difficult. I think a lot of us are overloaded with technology, and we've had to step up and really learn how to use the technology so that we can best assess in our families that we're working with, and also just to run programs in general. It's been difficult, but we got it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to take the time of making this huge leap to technology, and you know, we all have our own technological challenges, and I know you know firsthand about even with us, you know, we've got our own technological challenges and making things happen. So people have to kind of make the adjustment. Are you finding people able to make the adjustment and still being able to get in contact with you for the services that you guys provide?
Absolutely. We have actually handheld our clients through, sending us photos, uploading so we can upload documents to apply for all the benefits that they need. If families are not able to use technology, they have family and friends who will, speak to by Zoom or FaceTime or WhatsApp, any method that we have been able to use to help our families. And it's been very successful, and it's been a learning process for all of us. But, it's the new way of how we have to approach our work. So we have been able to do it.
Yeah. And so if people do want some support or some assistance from Wetco, what's the process and how do they go about getting the assistance that they possibly need?
Sure. So anyone who needs to know more information about Wetco, please call us at 718-839-1100, or they can visit our website at wetco.org.
Yeah, yeah. And so with COVID-19 really affecting and impacting a lot of people, they've still made the necessary leap to really get connected to Wetco. Talk about the feeling of gratification. How good does it feel for you to be able to assist so many families, and particularly during a time like this when we're in a pandemic? And of course, like I said in many different shows, we've never been here before.
Yes. I am so appreciative to the staff, not just the family support staff, but all the staff at Wetco who have really stepped up to call our families, to really make a connection with families, especially those people who are alone and don't have additional family support. And we really assess their needs, and to know that, we're able to call them every week and help them with those services that they are in need of, whether it's food, applying for benefits, and just delivering the meals to people's homes. It's just been an amazing feeling. And the staff at Wetco we have an amazing crew who really go out of their way to make sure that families are supported.
Yeah. Well, Doxene, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with us. You guys do amazing work, and particularly the area of food insecurity. We can't talk about it enough. We know that the Bronx has its own set of health challenges. We know that in many places the Bronx is a food desert. So the fact that you're actually able to come and help and meet the needs of people is really a great and a powerful thing. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with us here on Open.
Thank you so much for having us.
No worries. Listen, we have got more Open coming up. We want you to stay with us. We've got Doxene just now, but we got even more shows to come up. So listen, stay with us. Open is coming right back right after this.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
And thank you for staying with us. Homelessness has reached an all-time low in terms of the highest levels in New York City since the Great Depression. New York City Relief has mobilized thousands of volunteers to compassionately serve those who've been struggling with homelessness by providing both hope and resources towards leading them towards a life of transformation. Joining us now to share a little bit more is the Director of Volunteer Services at New York City Relief, Lydia Lucas. And we're also pleased to be joined by New York City Relief volunteer, Sarah Panayiotou. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did. Great.
All right, Sarah Panayiotou. Thank you so much, Sarah and Lydia, for being here with us. And so for people who don't know, first of all, thank you for the great work that you guys do with New York Relief. But Lydia, a little bit more about what you guys actually do.
Sure. So we are a mobile outreach. We're in our 30th year of service in New York City and parts of New Jersey. And what we do is that we go out into the streets of New York consistently, and we've been able to do that throughout the pandemic as well. We provide very natural resources, right, and things that people need, such as soup, fresh bread, drinks, but then we also provide support, and we are a constant presence on the streets. Our vision is that the folks that come to us, we build a rapport, we build a relationship with them that leads to life transformation.
And when we talk about homelessness, obviously, as I said in the intro, the numbers continue to get worse across New York City, and with COVID-19, the way that it's been going on. Sarah, talk about the work that you guys have done as volunteers, because with COVID-19, we know that there's social distancing and huge restrictions, but you're still able to get the job done.
Yeah, so there have been a lot of changes, but we are rolling with the punches. So we have shortened our outreaches to 2 hours, but we have also in that time increased the amount of soup we have given out. But we have, we're giving out hand sanitizers, we have hand washing stations, We provide hygiene kits with masks and everything. And we're trying to make sure we're not only still accommodating the physical needs, like soup, but also still providing some sort of relational care. So it's been a learning process, but I think overall, people are still coming. They still know we are there because a lot of other resources have shut down. So we are consistent and dependable, and it's been great to be able to see everyone weekly.
And Lydia, I know, as we talk about being impacted as an organization that is pretty hands-on, it's been impacted for you. So give us a little bit about how you've been able to navigate that as well.
So in terms of our organization, there has been a blessing in disguise during this season. People have noticed our work. And so because we've been out there when other organizations have had to really scale back because they're in a physical building or minimize their services, we've been able to push forward and continue to be out there. And so we've had people who have asked how they can help and who have helped either financially or even like Sarah and others who during this time, perhaps their regularly scheduled programming of life has been different, and so they've been able to give the gift of time and volunteer with us. As our staff, we've had to really take good care of ourselves, and so us and our volunteers, we make sure that everyone has their protective equipment, that we're providing N95 masks, that we're ensuring that we're checking on our health, that we're taking temperatures, that we're constantly cleaning our hands and sanitizing. And so it has been a change for our organization, but I think that because of our model, we've been able to really transform quickly to be able to keep up with this season.
Yeah, it's been a rough season and a challenging one as well. So if somebody's out there right now and they're saying, listen, this sounds noble, I want to be a volunteer, what's required of your volunteers?
What's required right now, so we go by in New York City, the guidelines, and the mayor's office, NYC Service, that's the mayor's office of volunteerism. The guidelines that they have in place are that volunteers cannot exceed 65 years old. And that is because we know that those who are older in age are more susceptible to just getting very sick if they were to contract COVID. And so besides that, we just want people who are willing to work hard, to smile, to encourage people, to love people. I mean, really, there is no application. You can go on our website, newyorkcityrelief.org/volunteer and find out more information. We are out from Wednesdays through Saturdays throughout New York City. And if you're interested, I encourage you to sign up. All of our guidelines are there on our website in terms of what we're doing, but we're looking for people who are not afraid to be out there, who are not afraid to love on people, and to just show up for our fellow New Yorkers.
Right. And Sarah, what's it been like for you being a person that's been boots on the ground right there, being able to interact and provide this service as a volunteer?
It's been wonderful. I think it's great to not only be able to support the New York City Relief staff because they have a lot on their plate, but to be able to get to know our neighbors who are suffering from homelessness, to be able to know their names is a big deal. I find that the biggest need is relationship, that hunger is a huge issue, but loneliness tends to be what people want to cure the most at times. So being able to be there and say, I see you, I care about you, and you're important during a time where they're forgotten, has been a blessing. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself and how we can start to change systems and make things better. So that way, hopefully, there's not so many friends on the street.
Yeah. Lydia, give me your thoughts. I mean, as I said, the numbers are continuing to rise. What are you seeing as far as being out there and dealing with our homeless population? What is it that possibly that we're missing as a community?
It's not easy. It's not easy for people, and it's not just complete street homelessness. Right now, we're looking at, in a few short weeks, perhaps many people facing eviction in New York as we're changing legislation. And so I think that when we look at our friends on the street, and as we get to know them, we know the stories, and it's not always what you think, right? And sometimes we are just 1 or 2 paychecks away from really having our security in terms of our food safety and shelter to be at risk. And so for us right now, what we've been thinking about a lot is what's going to happen as the legislation changes and as those restrictions with landlords are now loosened back up. On our Instagram stories, we've just posted things that people can start thinking about now in terms of if eviction is going to be a possibility for them in the next few weeks. And for our friends on the street, it's very difficult because some organizations are just not able to handle the capacity to get them through a process into housing. It's a long process to get someone from the streets into housing for various reasons. And so it's hard. It's hard when you're out there and you know that you're going to see that same person next week. It's hard when our bus leaves and we know that we're leaving them on the street. But the good thing is that we're able to come back and that we're able to walk through them through the process.
Yeah. Are you optimistic as we move forward towards the end of, well, we're in the middle of summer right now, but to the middle of summer, as we get closer, that maybe your job will be a little bit easier with all that's going on?
It's hard. A lot of folks have asked me, what do you think, right? And I would love to have an answer to say it's going to be over. We just don't know. What I will say, and I just really a little while ago, I was on 14th Street and everybody had a mask on in the street. And so what's encouraging is that New Yorkers are really taking this seriously and we're looking out for one another. And that's what I love about working in New York and for New York City Relief is that we are rising to the occasion. And so that in and of itself gives me hope. What's going to happen, I have no idea, but I know that thankfully we're continuing to have the ability to be out there for anybody who needs us.
Well, we know one thing, New Yorkers are resilient, and we're resilient people who like to rise up in the midst of tragedy and rise up when we're faced with uncertainty. That's exactly who we are as New Yorkers. Sarah, for you, before we get out of here, what really was it that said, I want to be a volunteer? What made you say this?
I will have to say that I think it's easy to be a New Yorker and to see homelessness every day and never actually see it. And so I feel just very passionate about seeing the people and knowing the people. My grandfather was homeless in New York City on and off for 10 years and we were disconnected with him. So finding that out and being I could have walked by my grandpa and not have known. And that's very convicting to say that these are people with real lives. And New York City Relief has a great model, really one of a kind model to really care and not just provide resources, but provide love. So.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, Lydia, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for the great work that you guys are doing. And especially as we get towards through the summer and towards the fall, and we know as the weather begins to shift, your work is going to be very, very, very much needed, but it's making a great impact. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, listen, we want you to stay with us here on Open. We do have more show. Want you to know that if you want to get connected to them, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. And if you want to visit their website, I have their information right here. The information is, hold on, tell us your website.
NewYorkCityRelief.org.
See, help me out. And here it is, right after you say it, I pull it up, right? NewYorkCityRelief.org. You can go ahead. Please stay tuned. We'll have more show coming after this. Sarah, Lydia, thanks a lot. And we are back here on Open. And due to COVID-19, many people are having to deal with social distancing. How that's actually affecting people? Well, it's affecting a lot of people, particularly architects. The pandemic is altering the way they make new buildings as well as designs. And architects and engineers are aiming to reconstruct the world to take into account the pandemic. Now, what actions and initiatives are being taken to do this now? Well, joining us to talk a little bit more is the principal of the Stephen B. Jacobs Group, and that's Isaac Daniel Astrachan. And we thank you so much for joining us, Isaac, and being here with us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure being here.
Yeah, and so I think when we talk about COVID-19, we talk about a whole lot of different people. I don't think architects really came to the front of the list, but for you, front and personal story about having to navigate through COVID-19. But so share with us a little bit about, for you as an architect, what's it meant for you trying to deal with COVID-19?
Well, as you know, most projects in the city were on hold, like everything else, for a while. Now construction is back up and running. We've been lucky to have, quite a few projects that were ongoing, were on hold, and then started up again. So we've kept busy. As far as the office is concerned, all our staff of about 45 has been working remotely throughout the pandemic so far, and we just are starting to potentially implement going back into the office starting in August. We're trying to be, real flexible with anyone's concerns, be it public transportation, childcare. So as an office, we're trying to, be flexible because we understand that everyone has, different circumstances.
Yeah. How long was it before you could really get to a sense of, I hate to even use that word, right? Normalcy, trying to navigate through this, because for everybody, all of a sudden it's like doors are closed. What do we do? So how long did it take for you to really make the adaptation?
I think for us as an office, it has been in a way surprisingly, I would say, not easy, but it's worked out. I mean, people have their computers, they're working from home. We have a network that's robust enough that we can, communicate. More and more, meetings have been online anyway. Go-to meetings, all those different Zoom, obviously, like everyone else. So it hasn't been that difficult. I think as far as efficiency, we maybe lost a little bit. But given these crazy times we're living in, it's worked out. It's worked out okay. As far as the construction industry as a whole, I was hearing from general contractors issues with actually getting people back to work who would be willing to go back to work. The projects that we have ongoing, are happening. Construction is happening. We've got a hotel going on in Tribeca on Greenwich Street that is under construction. So, so far so good.
Yeah. But I gotta talk about the future, because when we talk about the future, everybody talks about it's uncertain. But definitely going forward for you, I know there's got to be some changes and some modifications. How do you see the future of architects given this?
Well, I think, especially when you think of New York City, where everything is about maximizing every square inch. We've been in this mindset for so long, and this pandemic is forcing us to rethink, how we use space. But at the end of the day, how long is that rethinking going to be going on for? Is, once we get to this, whatever that the new normal is, once hopefully there's a vaccine, are we going to go back to maximizing every square inch again? So I think there's a transitional period before we get there. We're dealing with that in our office now. If we go back, we're going to be a maximum 50%. We're making sure people are social distance, wearing masks, all that. But so we're going to have less people in the office like everyone else. But do we specifically design for that now? I think that's hard to say, because I don't think we're all hoping this is not the way it is now is our new normal. and space is still too valuable. So I think we're making certain shifts, certain decisions, such as a lot of more touchless technology. Can you call your elevator from your phone and not have to touch any buttons? Bathrooms, toilets, touchless, faucets, touchless, doors that are opening in a touchless manner. I think that we can implement, and that might stay. But as far as space constraints, I think that's more temporary.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to consider going forward. And I know you've done some work in France, and talk to us a little bit about SBJ Group and some of the work that you've been doing too.
Well, I'm from France and Detroit. Actually, I grew up going back and forth between the two.
Interesting combination there.
Yeah. It is, and I'm privileged. I love it. It was great. As far as what I'm hearing in France, actually, Europe has seemed to have done a much better job than we as a country have done so far. But as things reopen, numbers of infections are going back up, so things seem to be tightening up as well over there too. Most as far as what we do, most of our projects are in the city, and we work on multifamily housing, hospitality projects, affordable housing. We're doing some charter schools. So we were very diverse, and that's kept us going for over now, 50 years.
Amazing. So as you look towards the future, how do you see things playing out for yourself and the group as you look towards ahead?
I don't know. It's gonna be that's the this period we're in. We have projects now that we're working on. Where do the next ones come from? How busy is the city going to be? It's hard. It's still hard to tell, because I personally think we still got a good 12, 18 months of dealing with this. So we'll see what the appetite is of people wanting to build, and hopefully, we keep going, maybe at a slower pace, but hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. 12 to 18 months. I mean, we're not scientists, but per se, we can say it looks like we're going to be in this for a minute. But Isaac, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you very much. All the best.
All the best. Listen, want you to stay with us, because guess what? We do have more show coming up. So stay with us. More open coming up. We'll be right back right after this.
Who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people, avoid crowds, stay home if you can, wash your hands frequently, learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
And thank you for staying with us. Many people are suffering from financial hardship and having to make some tough decisions in this COVID-19 pandemic. And many people are actually worried about debt, how much debt they're accruing, how to get out of it, questions that need some answers. So Virago Business Solutions is assisting and educating people about their credit reports. And the question is, how exactly can you improve your credit? Joining us now to talk a little bit more about this and more, we are pleased to be joined by the specialist and CEO of Virago Business Solutions, Shaleen Cuevas, and we thank you so much for being with us, Shaleen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So good. So when we talk about this here, obviously a lot of people are being harshly affected. COVID-19 is something that nobody saw coming, but yet and still the financial impact, and as I talked about in the lead, dealing with the credit and people's credit. So talk to us a little bit about the importance of maintaining your credit, especially during a time like this.
Well, like you said, right? So no one expected any of this to happen. So it's been really tough on everybody. So of course, health is key, right? Because of everything that has happened, everything is super slow right now, right? So we want to make sure that people are patient with the processes. We want to make sure that you check your credit. Choose the credit monitoring system is going to help you to be able to do that and check all 3 of your bureaus. The number one rule here is communication, right? Communication is key right now. You want to make sure that you get in contact with your lenders and talk to them and let them know what's happening. If you're having a hardship, communicate that with them. Let them know, especially if you have really great history with them, you can figure something out. A lot of people have been able to, help people out during this time, but they just don't know who unless you communicate with them. So that's really important. You also want to make sure that you don't miss a payment. Now, I know that it's really hard right now. There are folks that are choosing, which bills to pay versus, buying food. So I completely understand that. So at any point, if you're able to, and I highly recommend it, please try to pay your bills on time. Even if it's the minimum. We'd love for people to be able to pay more because obviously, you want to make sure that you're bringing down your utilization. But in times like these, the minimum is going to at least help you.
Yeah. And, you talk about COVID, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad for people because for some who may have income, an opportunity to save money, an opportunity to pay off some bills. So talk to us about how we can go about repairing credit and repairing our credit, especially in a time like this.
So in repairing your credit, especially if you've been fortunate to be able to save and so on and so forth, is, again, I cannot stress enough to pay those bills on time, even if it's the minimum. But if you happen to have extra money, then one of those things is bringing that utilization down. So you want to be able to bring your balances lower. And also, again, make sure that you're checking your scores and you're not applying for too many credit cards either. I know that some people are finding this opportunity to be able to apply for just about everything because on one hand, some people need it, and then some people, they want to build. I completely understand. Just make sure that you're doing your research on the credit cards that you want to apply for or the loans, and you're not applying for too many, which would cause too many inquiries.
And when we talk about credit and inquiries, we know that comes due to sometimes not being able to pay your bills and not being able to pay your bills. A lot that can be said there. But let me ask about spending, because a lot of people during this time will spend. And in order to improve that credit, spending habits have to change.
I agree. We at Virago Business Solutions, of course, help with credit repair and credit building and so on and so forth. But we do understand that just because we help you and you get better credit doesn't mean that you have better spending habits. So one of the things we like to do is also coach you in that opportunity as well. One of those things I would suggest is to make sure that you're monitoring your spending. There are tons of apps out there that can help you to do that. You want to make sure that you're looking at every dollar, every cent, and see where it's going. Then you want to be able to budget and be realistic with your budget. You want to make sure that you're listing absolutely everything on there that you spend. And if you're the type of person that goes for a haircut or you do your nails every month, put that on there too. That's realistic, right? That's step 2. Be realistic with the budget. And also, what I also like to suggest to my clients is, for those who are really having a hard time with separating their money, separate it in 4 different accounts. One is an account for all of your bills. Everything comes out of that has to be paid. Second is your personal. That's like your allowance. Your third is your emergency fund. And if there's nothing that COVID has taught us, it has taught us that we definitely need a healthy emergency fund. Right. And then 4 is your savings. Being able to segregate those things will definitely be able to help, monitoring, budgeting, and of course, changing your mindset. You want to make sure that you are aware of your why. What is your why? What is your motivation? What are your goals? Sitting down with your goals and establishing that and keeping your eye on the prize and remembering your why. That's super important. And you know what? It's tough. It's really tough. You know, a lot of people are going through a lot of things right now, and even saving and changing your mindset and being able to say no when you really want to say yes. Reward yourself. It's okay to reward yourself in small doses, not to a point where it takes you back, you know, but you do want to be able to reward yourself once you've earned it.
And before we go, I want to talk about debt consolidation. I know a lot of people have got that on the table, a possibility that, you know, getting ahead could consider, you know, debt consolidation, or, you know, how does credit repair and debt consolidation work? Give us a little bit of an understanding. Is that a good way to go in terms of taking on debt consolidation, which a lot of times you get these offers, but some people say, listen, I'm a little bit leery.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So credit repair is a service that negotiates with creditors for a better credit score. And debt consolidation is taking various debts and putting them into one bill. So with credit repair, you are working with your creditors in checking in the inaccuracies or any sort of discrepancies that may be on your report. Debt consolidation is saying, hey, I'm no longer able to take care of these items, so I need someone else to help me. I don't recommend debt consolidation because once you once you go with a debt consolidator, they now report that they are helping you to pay off this debt, which doesn't look very good to creditors. Whereas credit repair is a service that you work with your creditors. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And before we go, last question for you about the coronavirus and how it's affecting people's credit scores during the pandemic. What is it that we need to know, and what help is available?
It's so important to communicate with your with your creditors. Make sure that you're paying your bills on time. You're checking your credit score. Go with a credit monitoring system that gives you the scores of all three of the bureaus. Those three major bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And of course, we at Virago Business Solutions, we're here to help, right? So we want to be able to help those who are in need. We offer free consultations to anyone who is interested, and we explain everything that we're able to help you with. Please give us a call. We're here to help.
All right, Shaleen, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Of course, we'll have to have you back and give us some more tips on how to make it through this season.
Please. I'm happy to come back anytime. You let me know.
I will definitely do that. All righty, listen, taking a quick break. We want you to stay with us. We do have more open coming up right after this. Welcome back here to Open. Daren, Jaime here with you. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has been an emotional time and a challenging time for many. But one couple is making the best of the situation. They've actually celebrated their anniversary by launching a clothing line, celebrating everyone during difficult times. And the clothing line is called Bae Fitz Collection and Clothing Line. It's actually aimed to inspire everyone during the difficult times that we're in, as well as showing the world how much stronger we can become as a collective. Joining us now to share a little bit more about the clothing line, Bae Fitz, we've got the founders of the Bae Fitz Collection, Simone and Drayton Goss. And Simone, Drayton, good to have you.
Hey, thank you for having us. How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna get fit before this is all over with. That's what I'm gonna do. Thank you.
Trying to get right too. Quarantine has been It's been damaging.
Yeah, listen, quarantine's been a little bit rough, but you guys have been making the best of a bad situation, and you actually launched a clothing line. So tell us about, how did you decide, when did you decide, and made this come about?
Well, every year, we've been married for 7 years, so we're trying to, we always get each other nice gifts and stuff. This time we wanted to do something different. So we said for our 7th anniversary, instead of going out and buying all this materialistic stuff, we're going to celebrate each other by starting a clothing line together. And we launched it on May 1st. And it's a cool way to, of course, start a business and spend quality time with each other, because quarantine was getting rough for us for a little.
Yeah. Well, listen, you guys, according to your shirts, you guys are doing really, really amazing right now. So it's good.
We're blessed. Things have been real good.
Yes.
Yeah, but tell me about this, because your line itself, it's about making a statement too, and you're using your line to make a statement. Talk about that positive statement that you try to make.
Marriage is difficult on a normal, regular day, right? Throw quarantine, homeschooling, working from home into the mix, and it becomes a little crazy. So we wanted to, show people a fun way to celebrate marriage and celebrate relationships, but not only relationships, because not everybody's in a relationship, and that's okay. So we have some cute sayings and cute phrases for our single people as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And so everybody can really take part in this one as well.
Right. We don't discriminate. We have something for everybody.
Single, married, divorced, we got you covered, separate. You got it. I know. Listen, you guys, great work. Talk to us about frontline workers, because I know also in this COVID-19, while we have been in quarantine, you did some nice donations for some frontline workers.
Yeah. Yes. So we got together with a local chef and decided that we wanted to feed our people on the front line, our nurses and doctors who can't be home with their families like us, and they're on the front line. So we we wanted to give back. So we was a yes.
That's why I let you take the lead, because I couldn't pronounce
Maimonides Hospital is we donated the food to. We chose them specifically because I have a nonprofit organization for teen moms, and they came out. We had a community baby shower about 2 years ago. They came out. They donated a bunch of stuff, a bunch of essential items for our expecting teen moms. And so it was only right to pay it forward with them. And it was such a great experience. It was amazing.
And at the same time, helped some local entrepreneur chefs, that could be struggling at the time. So it was almost like a 2-for-1, and we just wanted to show our appreciation, because it's not easy. They're putting their life on the line every day going out there. So I mean, it's the least we could do. We just want to keep it going. We're working on another essential, maybe another hospital or something next. We're trying to figure it out.
No, that's great. I mean, to be able to give back to those who are really out there on the front lines and putting it out there, and your thoughtfulness is definitely appreciated. I think they appreciate it, but I think we as a community appreciate that too. So thank you for doing that. I want you guys are a couple, of course, and you got the business going, and you've got all these other things happening. But talk to us about this balance, right? Because you're working together, you're living together, and you could have quarantine chronicles. Talk to us about this work-life balance, and how have you been able to make it?
Well, the work never stops, right? And the family never stops. But we do take our time to, kind of digress and try to have our little woosah moments. So we'll watch our little TV shows. That's our thing, a little reality show.
But we try to watch. You said reality shows?
Yeah.
We're trying to get away from the reality shows, but the reality shows we do watch are like marital type of situations where we can benefit from it. I don't want to watch the stuff where people are just throwing drinks in each other's faces and stuff like that. But
right. I won't call out no shows. I want them suing me, but go ahead. I know what you mean.
Problem with with it. You know, it's a little entertainment for a little while, you know.
But it's a great balance, and I try to tell all my fellas, it's a great, they can never say you're not spending no time with them. They can never say that in your face. So we're spending quality time and we're working at the same time, and we have a great support system. You know, even our kids are coming into their entrepreneurial selves right now, the spirit. So it's been going well.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's got to be something for the whole house. I mean, as they see mom and dad actually working together, putting forth the product, what does it do for the house energy?
Oh my God, it's great. So the little ones, oh my God, they're so involved. They're like, I want to have a clothing line, you know, and designing stuff. Oh my God, my little one, she's 6. She found some design app where she designs sneakers and shoes. And she's like, look, Mom, I want to design too. So it's such a great thing.
She pitches the idea every day to us. Okay, I got this. And she's pretty good. And then we have a 11-year-old son. He's an inspiring pastor. He has his own show on Instagram. And to have someone that young that wants to be, you know, deep into church like that and wants to inspire other people, you know, we're just so proud, and we're glad that we're inspiring people and, you know, doing things like that.
Yeah. So if people want to get connected to the clothing line, what do they do?
Well, we're on social media, Bae Fitz. Was it just BxRx.com?
BxRx.com.
Yeah. And then our social media is Bae Fitz. Is it Bae Fitz Collection? Right. So our social media is Bae Fitz Collection.
And the website is
website is BxFitz.com. Yes.
BxFitzCollection.com.
Oh yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Listen, but let me ask this question: how did you come out with the name Bae Fitz?
Because we call each other Bae, and we have two older kids. You know, we kind of live through them. You know, we keep our youth.
Yeah.
So what they call outfits, they don't say outfit anymore. They say, "Oh, that's a nice fit." So we put it together. And Bae Fitz, and we throw a little Z up there just to, you know, switch it up a little bit.
Make it a little spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our kids inspired us for this name.
Well, you're a wonderful family doing some great things, and certainly inspiring the community during this time of COVID-19. And while we're all trying to figure out what to do, it seems like you got your handle on the situation. Thank you so much for sharing with us your story and also your entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bae Fitz Collection. Make sure you get connected to them. And yes, if you want to find out more information, we encourage you to get connected to them. And you can do that on their social media at Bae Fitz Collection. So, unfortunately, we come to the end of our show today. We want to thank all of our guests for joining us. But most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 8 p.m. on BxRx Channel 67. If you don't have that, we've got Verizon Files. That would be Channel 33, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. For all of us here on Open, I am Daren Jaime. Yes, during Quarantine Chronicles, saying take care. God bless. Make sure you keep this channel wide open. If you want a brand new, fresh episode of Open, make sure you come back on Friday. My girl, Rena Valentine, will be bringing you all the news and information on her side on Open. All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.